Hey everybody, just thank you all so much for coming today, and I wanted you to know that first of all, we are recording so that we can share it with some other friends and clients of ours. But during this session today, there is a chat button down at the bottom of your screen, and if you have any questions, just type them in, and then Kathy can answer all of these when we get done. But I'm going to let Charlie introduce Kathy. For those that don't know us, who I'm not sure there's anybody on here that doesn't, I'm Sherry Funk. Charlie and I own Just Cruising Plus. We are a travel agency. We've been in business since 1981, and we are located in Brentwood, Tennessee. So Charlie, you introduce Kathy, please.
Okay, thanks so much. I was trying to think when I didn't know Kathy. She has been a stalwart of the industry and one of our most effective and innovative business development managers. Over the years, we have been selling cruises and vacations and has been an inspiration to us more times than I can even remember. She is a regional development manager with AmaWaterways, and regional is as grand and important as it sounds, except that she covers more territory than six states. And for a variety of reasons, probably does a lot of that by automobile. So she gets a lot of time to listen to books on tape or something. But with that said, here is Kathy Goff.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to spend Sunday afternoon with y'all. It's a beautiful day. I'm sure it is up there in Tennessee as well. And I've got no place better to be. So let's see if this works. Okay. We go through the steps here. And we go here. Okay, somebody tell me if that's up and running. Good to go. Okay. It's interesting these times we're going through, that's for sure. We've never been here before, and I hope to God we never go back. But my word for the months of April and May, and we'll see if I have to go into June with this, my word is the word beyond. And that's where I think we need to put our heads. We need to start thinking beyond this insanity. Beyond, where do you want to go? Beyond, what dreams do you want to make come true? And in this day and age, if there's ever a time that has shown you the value of family time, like you guys that were just up there in the mountains with 12 of your family, I mean, that's what we need to be doing. So I would encourage you not just to plan for travel yourself, but for travel with your family. And I'll hit on some high spots that I think would be marvelous for that. Travel is the most educational experience in the world, and nothing beats it for expanding people's horizons. So I will start with a little company by the name of AmaWaterways. Now, Ama is actually the Latin derivation of the word love. So it's amo, amas, amat. So that's the Latin derivation of the word love. We are not AmaWaterways because that would be the American Medical Association Waterways, and we're not going there. So we started life as a company that by the name of Amadeus Waterways, but in the travel industry, travel advisors use a system called Amadeus. So I understand the letter from the attorney was extremely polite, but very straightforward. We couldn't be Amadeus in the United States. So since we were naming ships Amallegro, Amacello, Amadagio, and musical names like that, we took on the name AmaWaterways. Now, the first thing I have to do is introduce you to river cruising. Now, some of y'all may have river cruised before. Others of you may certainly be ocean cruisers, but river cruising is a different critter. It really is. I almost regret at this day and age that we have the name cruise in our name, because cruise brings to mind international waters and international borders and anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 people. Well, that's not what river cruising is. Our river cruise ships are 156 passengers. We are not in international waters. We are not crossing international borders. It is very, very different. Also, when you look at the bottom line.
I'm in.
Hello? Are we good? Okay. When you look at the bottom line cost, you may be tempted at the cost of an ocean cruise and flip over to a river cruise cost beside it and think to yourself, wow, there's a big difference there. Well, what you have to do with that ocean price is you have to add that excursion in every single port. You know how much that can add up to be. You have to add the cost of a specialty restaurant. That's $38, $40, $45 up each dinner, plus tips and plus wine. That's included on an AmaWaterways ship. All of our excursions are included, between 4 and 6 excursions in every single port. Then we have fine dining with 5-course meals. And oh, if you're on that big ship, you might want to purchase a beverage package because you have to buy everything from them, even their water. In our case, our free-flowing beverages, including beer, wine, soft drinks, champagne with breakfast, and we change the wines every single day based on the area we're in, and they're free-flowing. We also have a lovely happy hour the hour before dinner with open bar. Then if you need to have Wi-Fi, well, good luck with that. It's going to run you at least $200 for your ocean cruise. That, of course, is included with us, and we're actually wired for at least 4G for free Wi-Fi on our ship. So if you need to stay connected, or if you just want to reach out to family and go, look where I am, that's available. So I have to start with the rivers because I know every one of you have heard of the Rhine River, and you've heard of the Danube, and no, it's not blue. But most folks, before they study into river cruising, don't have a clue where one is and where's the other. So we start with the rivers because up here, the line that comes into the North Sea by Amsterdam, that line up there is the Rhine, okay? But the Danube's down here. These rivers were never connected until 1992, although the first person who wanted to do it was a gentleman by the name of Charlemagne. If you look to the left of the Czech Republic, that Main-Danube Canal actually covers 106 miles. It changes elevation by over 1,300 feet. So you can transit 17 locks in the course of transiting the Main-Danube Canal. They're built like stair steps. So each lock would take you up until you reach the Continental Divide, and then the locks on the other side of the Continental Divide will take you down. So, but you have to understand, this is recent, yes, but the rivers go back in history. The rivers are where civilization grew up. If you think you had reigned for 4 or 5 days in the time of the Middle Ages, where you could take a wagon or a carriage from point A to point B, but you could always move on the rivers. So the river banks is where civilization grew up. Start on the little river bank, start with a Celtic settlement. Settlement grew to a village. Village grew to a town, and town grew to these fabulous cities that literally line the banks of these rivers. So that's literally in the heart of history and culture and everything else. When we pull into a city or town, we're generally able to walk off the ship. We have a choice of walking tours by pace, gentle, regular, and active. We have bicycle tours, which are escorted with 2 guides. We have hiking tours, and we have culinary tours. And those are all included with AmaWaterways. There is a company that advertises on television with absolutely beautiful television commercials that make me throw things at my television. And they say in their tagline, they introduce river cruising and say, an excursion is included in every port. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, the word "an" means one. That means everybody goes on that one excursion, so your groups are much larger, and that is the only option. If you want another option, you pay for it. So Rhine and the Danube connected. They go all the way from the North Sea through 15 different countries down to the Black Sea. Over here in France, you got 3 wonderful rivers. It's a great destination after the Rhine, the Danube, the beautiful Moselle. The Seine goes from Paris out to the Normandy beaches. Fabulous itinerary, adding another one next year that will also include a post or pre-cruise trip to Mont Saint-Michel. Down here is the Rhone River. It's also the Saône River. So we're going to have 2 itineraries down here, one on the Rhone and Saône, the other on the Rhone. This goes through that shabby area called Provence. That's Châteauneuf-du-Pape and Beaujolais and the Nouveau Beaujolais wines and the lavender fields and the sunflower fields where Vincent did so much of his painting. Little box over here in France, that's a little area of Bordeaux. Bordeaux is a fabulous itinerary, very, very wine-focused destination, but we have added a lot of other excursions if you're not totally into wine, so you will still love this destination. Down here in Portugal, you also have a wonderful river called the Douro. The Douro is actually the oldest wine region in the world, and this is beautiful scenery, wonderful foods and wines. So there's no wrong choices here, folks. You just have to pick one and go from there. So the best way to describe river cruising is this quote I found years ago that says, oceans are going to take you to countries, but only rivers are going to take you through them. You're not going to get to Strasbourg, Heidelberg, Cologne, Vienna, Prague, Budapest. You're never going to get those on a big ship. On a big ship, you're going to come into a port. You're going to dock in the port. You're going to have 4 or 5 hours in that port. Typically, you're going to get back on the ship and go back to the ship. So very, very different from experiencing the art, architecture, culture, and cuisine. This is a fabulous little town in Dürnstein, has this blue Baroque tower, has these beautiful red tile roofs. Oh, look at that Steenbert vineyards back there. Nope, nope. No machine harvesting here. This is all done by hand. Also a fabulous castle ruin up here, which has an incredible history in that it was where Richard the Lionheart was held for ransom as he tried to come home for the Crusades. And we do have an optional hike that goes up here. We always send out 2 guides, just like with the biking tours. We have a guide at the front and guide at the back. We always tell you how difficult the bike ride or the hike is so you can decide whether or not to join it. Now, one thing I have to introduce you to at the front end is the difference between this company and others. And that is, this is a company that is family owned. It was started 18 years ago by these 3 families. These 3 families still own, operate, and conduct all business with AmaWaterways. We are not a major corporation. We don't have huge levels of management. Sherry and Charlie could email any one of these 3 people and they will answer. So I have to do a brief intro. Gentleman on the far left's name is Rudy Schreiner. Rudy is an architect trained in Vienna, designs our ships, designs our itineraries. He's commonly known in the industry as the godfather of river cruising because he was there from the beginning. He was actually the first president of Viking River Cruises. Prior to that, in 92, he was vice president of another river cruise line. And he's just an incredible person. I'll show you what he invented, which is the French balcony. To the right there is Christine Karst. Now, Christine also came from over there. She came from Germany, a wonderful city called Dresden. She's now lived half her life in freedom and half her life the Iron Curtain. She is absolutely the heart of AmaWaterways. And all you have to do is experience a video conference or meet with Christine, and it's an unforgettable experience. She's incredible. She's the heart of AmaWaterways. Over here is Gary Murphy. Now, Gary and his dad, Jimmy, used to own a company by the name of Brendan Vacations. But Jimmy has that same immigrant story. Jimmy came over on a ship from Dublin, Ireland, with only $50 in his pocket. And he made himself a life for himself and his family and had them all over in the US, but it's just an amazing experience. We lost Jimmy a few years ago, but Gary, his son, is fully the other co-owner and totally involved in this company. We have been in operation 18 years, but we only have 19 ships. Now, the reason for that is we have definitely limited our building of ships and our number of passengers on the ship. We have smaller ships that are in France. They're known as the French balcony ships. The French balcony ships only have 148 passengers. Now, in 2010, the folks that regulate the locks told Rudy he could have 80 feet to make a longer ship. Well, Rudy took his 80 feet and he only added 6 cabins. So we went from our 148 passengers to our big ships of 156 passengers. Now I have to tell you, some of the other folks went from the 148 passengers up to 192. The ships are the same size, one exception in there I'll show you. The ships have the exact same size dining room, the exact same size lounge. You are just putting 40 more people, and consider the noise level difference, in the same space, and obviously adding a lot more cabins and smaller. So the mentality of these 3 families from the old country was, if you built something, you paid for it. You didn't put it on time. You didn't pay interest payments. Every one of our 19 ships are paid for. I love this quote from Rudy when he says, "There is no debt on any of our ships. I can sleep at night." And I'm not sure how many folks in any industry can say that, much less in the cruise industry. We will have all kinds of new regulations and standards. This is just a short preview. We will have guest, crew, and hotel service staff requirements. We will have super hygiene standards. Now, we've never been a company that was big on buffets. Our breakfast is served, and that's when the champagne comes in. Our lunches have always been served as well. We have had a salad bar. I'm not sure that will come back anytime soon. And our dinners are 5-course paired wine. We have regional cuisine, and we also have standard American cuisine as well. So we are not just subject to our standards. Please note that we are subject to the standards and requirements of every single country we go through. So here you are going down the Danube, and you're going through 5 different countries. Yes, we have to adhere to the standards of all 5 of those countries. Now, one thing that AMA did about 3.5 weeks ago was announce a frontline hero offer. Now, this is for medical personnel that have been online on the front and working through this insanity. So we're talking doctors, nurses, lab technicians, pharmacists, all those folks that have had our back the whole time. We're offering those folks a free complimentary cruise as long as the person is accompanied by a paying passenger. So please, if you have any friends that are in the medical profession, share this information and get back to Sherry and Charlie, because they will walk you through it. It's an incredible offer, and we are so proud to offer it. Now, let's go back to the Danube River and that wonderful little town of Dürnstein. There's those red roofs and those blue Baroque tower. And what you're going to see as you sail along the river here is you're going to look as we pass these little villages. You're going to see all these beautiful red tiled roofs. You're going to see a church spire right in the middle because that's the center of the village. And you might look out at some point during the cruise and say, wow, these are just fairy tale villages. Well, there was a couple of guys back in the day by the name of the Grimm brothers. The Grimm brothers are the ones who wrote those fairy tales, and the Grimm brothers lived on the banks of the Danube. So they literally just illustrated their stories with their home. So I have to introduce you to the new cabin design that Rudy came up with. Now we have 3 cabin categories on the majority of our ships. The first category is called a fixed window. The fixed window is just that. It's a window that does not open. The next category up is the standard cabin for so many years, and it's actually called a French balcony. A French balcony has sliding glass doors. Think of your patio doors. Opens out into the completely to enjoy the view, the fresh air, and everything. But it's not a step-out balcony. In 2010, when they gave Rudy that extra 80 feet, he designed a new cabin, which is our signature design, called a twin balcony. It's twin because it does have 2 balconies. Here you have the French. Next to it, you have an actual step-out balcony that has to come into the cabin. 2 chairs, and they can face the river, not each other. And you can't do that in less than 210 to 235 square feet. Now you understand why we are only 156 passengers. Please note also, every stateroom has an Apple TV. There is a keyboard under it. This is also your cable TV, your first-run Hollywood movies, even a music system you can play in your cabin, and there's that 4G Wi-Fi. Actually, Gary said we spent as much on Wi-Fi last year as we did on fuel. So if you need to stay connected, come with Ama. The last 6 ships that Rudy has added in design have had not only these twin balconies, but they have connecting cabins. So one cabin connecting to another, super for multi-generation. But what if you were traveling with a very senior parent and wanted close access to them? These 6 also have triple cabins. That is a single bed, so it can accommodate a 3rd person. And the suites on board these vessels can accommodate a family of 4. Behind the screen is your bedroom area. Here is a fold-out queen-size bed. We do occasionally have families on board. We welcome them. We are not overrun with children. They tend to be during the holiday season or my beloved Christmas markets. They tend to be very well traveled and very well behaved. And my theory is they're being watched by every grandparent on the ship. So it's pretty safe to take them on board. An amazing educational experience to sail with your loved ones. Our dining is exquisite. The presentation really does look like this because we're the only river cruise line to be a part of this culinary society, which is called Chaîne du Rôtisseur. It means everything has to be locally sourced, nothing frozen, and the presentation really does look like this. Now, I'm going to introduce you to, hang on, I'm going to stop this for a minute and then go back. I'm going to introduce you to Rudy and Christine. I want you to get a flavor for these two people and therefore this company. Now, when you're viewing this video, sometimes it will stutter when you see their faces, but literally you're going to see their faces only for about the first 30, 45 seconds, and then it's all voiceover. So now I have to tell you, cross your fingers, because it seems like sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. So please meet Rudy and Christine.
Why the name Ama?
Ama in Latin, amore, means love. For us, there was so much love that went into the creation of our company.
That's the whole reason for AmaWaterways.
Together, we had a dream to create the very best river cruise line that would be out there. Ships that we would enjoy ourselves. River cruising is something very intimate. It's an immersion into the culture. You see the country. We are docked mostly in the heart of the city.
The destination is still the countries you visit, not so much the ship. The river cruise really gives you double the leisure time. The ship is a means of luxury transportation from destination to destination.
The Ama Magna was Rudy's dream. We have created the most unique floating boutique hotel on the Danube River, I would say on all the rivers.
This ship is double as wide as most of the other ships on the rivers. It has 4 restaurants. It has large staterooms. It has a fantastic wellness area.
We even have spinning bikes with the most magical view to the river.
We also have a nice massage rooms. We have a hairdresser on board.
We offer some classes, stretching, core, and then we go out on our tours. They are all included. Or maybe you want to just jump into our beautiful swimming pool. I see more and more guests just sitting there enjoying a glass of wine while the ship is cruising, enjoying the scenery until we arrive in our next port. You open a storybook and every day you fill a blank page with an adventure. At Ama, we are very proud of our people. Our crew is part of our family. They are so genuine. They anticipate the needs of our guests. We are so fortunate to be surrounded by crew members and our cruise managers with the right attitude, with the right heart, with the sparkle, and with the genuine smile. We look forward to welcoming you to our AmaWaterways family.
And we'll see you on the Danube. Cheers.
You know, I don't care how many times I see that, it just makes me smile because I have to tell you, these are such genuine people. Now, I also have to cover this fabulous new ship, which they mentioned, which is called the Ama Magna, because she literally not only breaks the mold, but she makes me a liar out of everything I just said. Now, when you're in the Main-Danube Canal, and from there north, those locks will accommodate a ship that is 38 feet wide. And trust me, when you're in the lock, there's 11 inches of clearance on the side between you and the lock wall, which by the way is slimy. all those locks limit the width to 38 feet. Rudy's discovery was from the bottom of the Main-Danube Canal, which is just north of Vienna. Every lock from there down to the Black Sea is designed for not a single ship at a time, but 2 ships side by side. So Rudy has had this in his head for 7 years. It did take 2 years to build this vessel, and she just came online with us last May. She totally breaks the mold, because when I tell you a normal river cruise ship is 38 feet wide, you really can't get a mental image of it. I can't. I can tell you she's a double wide, but still, let's consider the difference between a ship that is 38 feet wide and a ship that is 72 feet wide. And this nails it. That is the Ama Magna next to a Viking longship. And these 2 ships carry the same number of passengers. Now let that sink in. The same number of people on these 2 vessels. So what do we have on the Ama Magna? We have a whole lot more space. We have public space, we have larger cabins, and like Rudy said, we have 4, as he says, restaurants. We have 4 restaurants on this ship. Al fresco there is on the main deck with windows all the way out looking towards the river. We have Jimmy's. Now, Jimmy's is named for Jimmy Murphy, our owner there. He was all about family dining and family experiences, so this is designed to be family style. The chef's table is unique to AmaWaterways. The chef's table restaurant exists on every one of our ships. Every one of our ships has 2 dining venues. It has a dining venue with the main dining room, which I'll show you in a minute, and it has the chef's table. The chef's table is a specialty restaurant. It's typically glassed in. It has a private chef there preparing and plating a 7-course paired wine dinner, and there is no charge for dining at the chef's table. Everyone has the opportunity to dine there. What's different about the Magna? Well, Rudy made the kitchen open. So literally the chef is right there as part of the show, not in a separate space, which is absolutely delightful. Our dining rooms are amazing. Again, the country club casual, you'll get a feel for as you see all of these pictures. That's the way we dress, as well as the decor on the ship. Now, the reason I always point out our dining room is that we're unique in the industry, is that we have tables for 2. We have tables for 4. We even have some 5-tops. Now, why would we have a 5-top table? Because we have solo travelers, 6 and 8. Now, that does not sound like a big deal until you understand that the majority of the river cruise lines have every single table in their dining room for 6 people. That not only means 6 for dinner, that means 6 for breakfast. Consider it. More space. What can I tell you? More space everywhere. That hallway, I would tell you, is larger than any I've ever seen on any ship in the world. Beautiful public areas. The main lounge actually has a pretty large dance floor, and of course we always have the entertainment at night. But what's even better here is we've got 2 little lounges, both with little fireplaces. They're super comfortable places to sit and watch the river go by, to bring your iPad in, to bring your book in, or just snooze off while you're in this beautiful lounge. Rudy also used some extra space to put a cinema on this ship. It does have a couple PlayStations, so if there's some kids on board, that's good for them. But my favorite time with the cinema is the day after we go to Salzburg. If you choose the Salzburg excursion, which is included, you're going to drive through the beautiful Austrian countrysides. You're going to end up with a full day in Salzburg, whether it's Christmas markets or not. And then you're going to come back to the ship after dinner We might be screening Sound of Music here in the cinema. So you bring your glass of wine and we'll supply the popcorn and you can just talk about an incredible day you had. As Rudy said, now every one of our ships has the wellness or fitness center. Typically it's quite small. This one is quite large. She also has a juice bar, strangely enough positioned right outside the door to the massage rooms. There are those spinning bikes. It almost tempts me, but I'm not sure. We have either a pool and jacuzzi on the top of all of our decks. It is not an indoor pool. It is an outdoor pool. It's always very well heated. So even during the fall, during the wine cruises and the Christmas markets, you can have that hot toddy or the hot mulled wine. This is a combination of the two. And the picture was taken from the jacuzzi, so you really can't tell that it's attached to the pool. And here is one of those bars. This one happens to be a pop-up bar on the top deck. Now you have to understand everything on a river cruise ship has to lower to clear low bridges. Now, what's different about this ship is Rudy built an elevator that can go to the sun deck. Typically, none other can. You will take stairs to the top deck. In this case, the elevator rises up. You would step out of the elevator, and the elevator lowers back down. Just one of those incredible, innovative things from Rudy. Our average cabin, again, that country club casual, this is the average cabin on this ship. It is actually 355 square feet. There are beautiful bathrooms with walk-in showers, floating vanities, and a separate water closet. You have a nice seating area here. There's your Apple TV with your keyboard. And over here in the bedroom area, you have a huge wall-mounted TV, and you have a fabulous balcony with chairs and a table out there. So it's absolutely incredible. If you're looking for a lot of space, you're going to steer towards the Magna. All of our ships have 25 bicycles on board. We send out 2 guides, one with the fastest, one with the slowest. The Magna happens to have 50 bicycles, and we are adding smaller bikes in case we have kids on board. The wines are regional. They are premium. You do not get a box wine. You do not have to pay for something other than a box wine. These wines are included. They change every single day, a different red wine and white wine based on the region you're in. It's absolutely delightful. Our unwritten rule is you never leave the dinner table without a full glass of wine. We just tell you, please be careful on the stairs. We also don't guard the gangway. If you'd like to bring a local wine on board, that's fine with us, or your duty-free bottle of scotch. So, like I say, we do have that sip and sail, which is a happy hour at the hour before dinner. Everybody comes to the main lounge, gathers together, and you can break off and go to your little dinner groups from there. I cannot do a presentation in my life without mentioning the Christmas markets. This is the love of my life. I have done this 7 times, and believe me, I will be there this year. Christmas markets are not what you'd expect. Christmas markets are based on Advent. They start about the 24th or 25th of November, and they go through Christmas Eve. These go back 700 to 900 years. This is a local tradition. All the locals come out during the Christmas markets. Now, last year, Vienna opened on just the 15th of November, and Budapest opened before that. So this is not something you have to be gone for Christmas. Think around Thanksgiving or even sooner. The locals are out. They're all standing with their families around the market stalls. You're going to smell sausage roasting, nuts roasting, gingerbread. It's just nothing short of magical. These people do not decorate a tree here and there. They decorate entire cities. This is Vienna. This is the main market at the city hall or the Rathaus. Actually, there are 6 markets in Vienna. This is the main market. All the way from the street here are these fabulous market stalls. And of course, it gets dark early over there, so all the lights come on. 2 slides I have to show you of my beloved Prague. It's my favorite city in the entire world. It's always magical, but trust me, at Christmas time, it is above and beyond. In the old town square, they put this huge tree, and when they light this tree, it is totally timed with music. Just an incredible experience. And if you ever doubt where Walt Disney gets his ideas for architecture, take a look at some of these buildings. You know, Cinderella's castle is a real castle in Germany. Rapunzel's castle is a real castle in France. So share this. It's an amazing experience. There's, I told you about Salzburg. It's a fabulous city. But, you know, if you've already been to Salzburg, the day we go there, you could go to this fabulous town just inside the Czech Republic, which is called Český Krumlov. And it's straight out of medieval times. It never even had a major fire in medieval days. So it's just stepping out of the past. Incredible experience. Included. We decorate the inside and the outside of our ships. We have a little tree decorating contest. We have 2 trees, and you guys get to compete on who does the better decorating. I love when we celebrate St. Nicholas Day, because on St. Nicholas Day, we tell you to put 1 shoe out in the hallway. And that next morning, St. Nicholas is going to have to come and put a sweet goodie or maybe a negative goodie in your shoe. I won't tell you which one I got last year. The Glühwein is a hot mulled wine. It is signature to this region. It's mulled with spices like cloves and cinnamon and oranges. It's served hot in mugs at the Christmas markets. They also serve hot cider and hot chocolate. And it's so fun to bring back a couple of those mugs, because from then on, every year, when you pull out those mugs, you're going to remember where they came from. Now, I have to tell you that the Christmas markets right now are on promotion for both this year and for next. They're $1,000 off per person. They're a free category upgrade, and they're shipboard credit. So it's a wonderful opportunity to just put something on your calendar. Have something to anticipate and to plan. Our deposit on all of our bookings are $400 per person. And note that there's nothing else due until 90 days from sailing. We are not going to pay for something months or even years out. That's not the way AMA does it. So put something on your calendar. Plan to take your family. 3 exotic locations. I'll just blitz through these. The first one is in Africa. She's a very small ship. She only has 14 cabins. She's called the Zambezi Queen, and she does a 4-night cruise on the Chobe River. That's between Zimbabwe and Botswana. And we do 2 nights at Victoria Falls, and then that gets added to either an itinerary in South Africa or East Africa. It's an incredible over-the-top itinerary. If you're only going to Africa that one time, you might want to consider going with us. We are also in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia and Vietnam. That's an old brochure, but I love the cover, so I have to keep it. I did this 5 years ago. It was the most astounding, powerful, and honest to God, life-changing trip I've ever done. And I've done Africa twice. It's an entirely different culture and amazing Buddhist culture, gracious, welcoming, forgiving. I just wouldn't trade that experience for the world. But we are introducing a brand new itinerary in September of 2021. We will be building a ship, and it will sail the Nile. So this will be a combination of Egypt and the Nile. Now, when you're going to Egypt, you don't just pop onto the Nile and do a 7-night cruise. It needs to be bookended on either end by Cairo. In our case, we have planned for 3 nights in Four Seasons Hotel in Cairo. Then we're going to be 7 nights on the AmaDahlia, which I'll show you in just a minute. Now, she will do everything. She will include Luxor, Aswan, Queen Nefertari's tomb. It'll be the Sphinx and the temples and the pyramids, everything you want to see, and some very exclusive experiences. For instance, when you go back to Cairo, you're going to take a visit to the presidential palace. Now, everybody does a visit to the presidential palace, but with Ama, you're going to have lunch in the presidential palace, which nobody else does. So the AmaDahlia, which is an Egyptian flower. This will be Rudy's newest ship. She will launch in September 2021. She only has 34 cabins. So you have to anticipate booking this product far out. All river cruises need to be booked far out to get the space you want and the date you want. But the AmaDahlia with 34 cabins. Look at that top deck. Look at that swimming pool and those shaded areas. How about a lobby that looks like this? Again, we're hearkening to country club casual or a main lounge. Now, when we do our river cruises, we always offer a pre and or a post land package. For instance, when you do the Danube, trust me, do not do the Danube without adding 3 nights in Prague. It is absolutely incredible, and the cruise manager will be there with you the whole time. That will be true in Egypt too. Now, we have a couple unique pre and post offers. For Egypt, we have one option, which is a 3-night stay in Dubai. Fabulous city there. But the one I'm fond of is 4 nights in Jordan. That will give you Amman and Petra. But my real favorite about this is a post-land package that we are offering you with 4 nights in the fabulous Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Jerusalem, doing all the Jerusalem sites, doing the Dead Sea, doing Masada. How to cap it off. You're going all this way, folks. So I always wrap up, and I go too long every time. I apologize. But 3 quotes that are near and dear to my heart that I think we all need to take to heart. The first one is a quote from Buddha. And like I say, I so fell in love with that Buddhist culture. I would have stolen this quote no matter who said it, but the fact that it came from Buddha needs even more to us. Buddha speaks to all of us when he says, you know, the trouble is you think you have time. You're always going to feel this good. You're always going to be able to travel with your kids, your grandkids, your nieces and nephews. How many of us know somebody who thought they had time and they didn't? So bear in mind, you can always make more money. You can't always make more memories. And nothing makes memories better than travel. Consider the idea of taking a preteen or a teenager on a trip like this. Consider spending time in the Anne Frank house, going to sit in courtroom 600, the site of the Nuremberg trials, going to walk through a concentration camp outside of Prague. This is truly educational and can be a life-changing for all of you and will create memories that literally could last longer than you do. So Mr. Carson from Downton Abbey said it best. He said, the business of life is the acquisition of memories. And I think if nothing else today, we hope we have prompted you to think beyond, and let's get out there and make some plans. You don't have to do them right now, but put it on your calendar so you have something to look beyond and anticipate it. So we're going to switch back to Sherry. And I tell you,
Kathy, thank you so much. That was wonderful. I'm going to unmute all of you all, and if you have any questions for Kathy, please feel free to ask. Don't be shy. Anybody? We just absolutely loved our cruise on Nama. It was a wonderful experience. One of the things that I know that we get a few questions on, Kathy, is what about handicap cabins, or is there a way that if you had to have a wheelchair or a motorized cart, I know on the Magna you'd be able to use it because you'd have the elevator. Uh, is that a possibility?
Well, all of our ships do have elevators. They typically only service the interior decks. The Magna is the only one that goes up to that sun deck. What I find, and we do have some a couple of folding wheelchairs, even have one of those motorized scooters that can be rented. I find it's a matter of managing expectations. If the person has some limitations and expects to be able to do absolutely everything, they could be disappointed, because you have to understand there is no Americans with Disabilities Act over there. Some of these streets were never bombed in World War II, so they have the original cobblestone streets. I was flabbergasted the first time I went to Prague when I saw baby carriages that had huge wheels. It took me a day or two to realize it was because of the cobblestones. So typically, you modify your expectation, or you certainly have some assistance to help with that. I see a Christmas market question.
Yeah, Christmas markets are another time of year for teenagers, young adults, and children. Rebecca, I know that's your question. Kathy?
What was the question?
Okay, Christmas markets, or is another time of year for teenage, young adult, children best?
Oh, they will typically go on our vacation times, summer months or fall breaks and that sort of thing. There's no rhyme or reason. That seems to be the most consistent. But like I say, it is such a fabulous family adventure. I've given my daughter notice. Those 6 next year are going with me. And she's already said, well, they have to miss school. And I said, there is nothing in this world that's going to be more educational for those two kids than doing this kind of trip.
Absolutely.
Second grade does not hold up to this.
Yeah. And Kathy, I think the question is whether or not the younger cruisers would enjoy Christmas market the way adults would. I'll share with you that there have been many times in my life that I had set such high expectations of what something was going to be, and then finally did whatever it was and was just totally disappointed. I had to give you that preface to share this. Christmas market was everything and more that I ever expected it to be. It was one of the best experiences in my entire life.
So, Rebecca, I know that this was a question I know that you had, and I know the ages of your children. Because your kids are so well traveled, I think that they would absolutely love a river cruise. And to get one of those connecting cabins where you could have some privacy and have 2 bathrooms, which would
yes, oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I guess my question was, having 2 college kids, Christmas markets are on our bucket list, but sort of versus going at Christmas versus taking them at in the summer.
No, we have that happen all the time. Now you have to understand our average age last year was 57.
Sure.
This is a younger cruise line. We have 30s and 40s that sail with us. Why did bicycles? We got bicycles, and we're doing biking tours. We're doing hiking tours with culinary tours. We have a wellness tour on board every ship that does a stretching class and maybe a yoga class. This is appealing to a younger clientele. I find, especially with the Christmas markets, it is just such an incredible experience. They really seem to find they have an absolute blast. I've even had kids go on our Mekong in Southeast Asia, and even the other passengers loved it. because they got to see it through the kids' eyes. It's just amazing. I would not hesitate to make something like that happen during the Christmas months, especially for your
Great.
teen.
Got to observe that Christmas markets are wonderful because they turn every single traveler into a child, and that's true. The challenge, or back to the challenge, is that a summer cruise to the beach or something like that is so diametrically different from a Christmas cruise that it's tough to compare one with the other. They're such different. It's like the difference between should I go snow skiing or go lay on the sand. It's such totally different experiences. And if they're college age, I think the opportunity to see the culture, and because the drinking age may be a little bit different there than it is here, they can enjoy mulled wine or glühwein that they might enjoy. I really think you ought to consider doing it.
Great. Thanks. That's very helpful.
The only word is magical. And I can tell you, just consider with what we're going through right now. Can you imagine a Christmas season in our lifetime that's going to be more anticipated and appreciated than this one? So you can even take it beyond and make it even more special. I'm telling you, you will create memories that will last longer than you do. Terry and Charlie, I know you've traveled with your kids, your grandkids. They know the kind of experiences and memories that you've built with them.
Questions?
Guys, we've really enjoyed this afternoon with you all. If you have any questions, you know you can reach Charlie and I anytime. Just call the office and we'll be glad to help you. For those of you who were not on here earlier and don't know, we have moved our offices home permanently. Our staff is working out of their home remotely. When you call the office number, one of them will answer, and when they do, they will transfer the call to either us or to the agent that you want to speak with. So we're in a different world now, as we all know, but this is working out really well. We found out the staff loves it, so if you call and you hear a dog barking, or you hear a lawnmower outside, or a doorbell ring, it's okay. It's okay.
We have trained guard Westies.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question? Otherwise, thank you again for coming, and we will see you all. We'll be doing these periodically, and you'll start getting information from us on them with some of our other suppliers as well. But Kathy, thank you again so much for your time today.
It was a pleasure.
Great. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.